And 10B, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit an application to the City-County Association of Governments for San Mateo County for street rehabilitation on Pine, 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th Streets for the One Bay Area Local Streets and Roads Grant Program.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The topic in front of you today is in regards to the grant from One Bay Area Grant Local Streets and Roads Program. Since improving the city streets is of importance to the Council, staff has always looked for opportunities to apply for available grants to help fund the paving program or use different paving treatments to stretch the dollar. And on May 12th, the City Council Association of Governments, otherwise known as CCAG, of San Mateo County, approved the distribution of $11 million in total funding for One Bay Area Grant Local Streets and Roads Program. The official call for projects was released in September 12th, and there was a county-wide workshop that was held on September 29th as well. The grant is to be used towards pavement management projects or in any work associated with paving, such as improving or replacing curb ramps, storm drains, and sidewalks. Unlike other One Bay Area grant programs, the local street and roads distribution is non-competitive. As long as the city submits a qualifying project by November 18th, the funding is guaranteed to be distributed. Of all the agencies in San Mateo County, the city would receive the 6th largest distribution of at $643,000. As part of the city CIP for street, the Rehab project, the city uses a pavement management program called Street Saver to analyze pavement condition index and derive street segments that optimize the use of funds for preventive maintenance and rehab of the city streets. The PCI, or pavement condition index, has a range of 0 to 100, where 100 is considered a very good condition of a newly constructed or reconstructed road. Failed condition roadway segments will have a PCI of 25 or less. For this, One Bay Area Grant Local Streets and Roads Program, staff is recommending to use the grant funds to rehab several streets in a community that has a PCI of 25 or less. Due to limited funding in the pavement program, majority of these failed streets have been deferred due to high cost of reconstruction. The city's pavement program is focused on rehabbing and preserving as many streets that are in good condition to keep them from deteriorating. And the guidelines set forth by the grant requires that these street segments is to be within the priority development area. And as you can see on the slide here, and you have a copy of this map in front of you too, the shaded green area is the PDA, which is the priority development area. And it's it's defined as an area in an existing community that local city or county government have identified and approved for future growth. These streets, the streets which staff is recommending today, are shown in the clouded area. They are at Pine Street from 1st to 7th, 2nd, 4th, and 5th Streets from Bruno Avenue to the I-380 overpass. And the information indicated in the box reference for each street segment includes the current PCI, estimated construction costs from Street Saver, and whether the street has been repaved since the city began tracking information in Street Saver. These costs were based on a Street Saver recommendation for street reconstruction. However, the city is evaluating other pavement cost-effective treatments such as coat-in-place recycling asphalt, and as well as rubber cape seals to stretch the dollar a little bit more. And these streets were recommended because many motorists use these the streets to connect to other streets such as Huntington Avenue, San Bruno Avenue, and El Camino. Although staff made the recommendations, the City Council can direct staff to change or evaluate other street segments today, if you like. The city is also seeking grant opportunity from Calvary Cycle for up to $350,000 to supplement the cost of next year's paving project as well. That additional money can be used to rehab additional streets, and staff will be coming to council next meeting for that item. And as part of the Calvary Cycle grant, an environmentally preferable procurement policy is required, which will be presented later this evening by the finance director. As for the fiscal impact, if the project is approved by CCAG, the city will receive $643,000, and however, a local grant match of 11.47% is required, which totals about $74,000. And staff will return to council if the project is approved for grant acceptance, and request approval to use the funding allocated in the annual street rehab program from Measure A and gas tax. And that's pretty much all I've got. If you have any questions,
Good. Any questions for
happy to answer them.
Jimmy? Anything?
Well,
Irene?
first of all, I apologize for not asking you this earlier so you could look it up. But what about Huntington from San Bruno Avenue to Sneath Lane and Huntington, or actually, I'm sorry, from Sneath Lane to Norr, and then San Antonio and Huntington on the south side of San Bruno Avenue? They're really in horrible shape, and I don't see them marked in red on here. If you don't have it, that's fine. Again, I apologize for not asking earlier.
Yeah, the PCI for that index is, for that street segment is 76. That's what it's indicated on there right now. But that's something that we can look into if you're interested.
For 76, from Sneath Lane to Norr?
No, she's saying those streets that she's looking at are horrible. Could you repeat the street segment? It was Huntington between Sneath and Norr. Is that correct?
Right, in front of the post office. Yeah.
There's so many hammered streets here.
That one is north of what we just talked about. So it's in front of the post office.
Right. Bark
So
did their
that's,
construction. That was their haul route. Bark's
So
haul
that
route.
one, and then the other,
Oh, on the,
and then the north side, the south side of.
right, yeah, San Antonio.
It's, the PCI is 63.
There's no way. I'm sorry. Well, I withdraw my question. You guys can figure that one out. But if those two sections are really, really low, can we, it says 63?
It does say 63.
When was it? When was the last
When
time?
was that last
when-
looked at?
I mean, it might have been a year or two.
When was this last?
I mean, I don't know.
What as part of the PTAP program, there was a consultant that came throughout the city in 2015 to evaluate all the PCI index, and the Street Saver PCI was updated during that time. So this is current.
Okay. For our own edification, would you or somebody on staff know how to go and physically do that and verify what the information is? Because that particular section of road is horrible, and the other piece of Huntington and San Antonio, as it blends into San Antonio from actually from Angus to Millbrae is pretty
San
bad as
Luis.
well.
Santa Helena. If you're
Is
talking
that-
about, yeah, it
thank
goes all the
you.
way to Santa Helena, which is at Lamita Park.
Yeah, I'm not questioning so much that they're not being funded right now. I'm questioning the fact that they're not in red on here.
So we will do what we can to, we'll at least physically visit those areas and make our own evaluation of comparatively. I don't know whether we possess the ability to assign a PCI rating, but we can certainly revisit those street segments. Could we make sure that we have the second street segment that you're talking about as well? It's Huntington from
Probably from Angus to, what was it?
to the southern border.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Santa Helena.
Okay.
So if you think about in front of the courtyard in that area?
Yep.
Just San Antonio. Are you guys looking at the right street? San Antonio.
Okay. Thank you. So if,
What was it? I'm
my
sorry.
point is, we've got the Pine and the other avenues listed, and I agree totally that those need to be done. But then you indicated that if we have extra money, or if this goes under budget and we have enough money, you would look at the other streets, and the other streets you have listed in red here. I was curious why those sections of Huntington and San Antonio were not also in red, because if they could be in red, I would vote for them being the next on the list. And that's my only comment on that.
Right, and the reason why they're not shown in red, because we're only showing the street segments that are 25, that are failed locations within this PDA area. And, and since the PCI for the Huntington segment is 63, it's not within our requirement of failed streets.
Yes, so I question the number, but they are both in the PDA system, PDA area, so that's my only question. Other than that, I think everything is great.
Mr. Chair?
Marty?
I think it's great that the grant is wonderful. Those streets need it. I need to, one of my streets where I live is on one of these here, so I don't know if I'm supposed to recuse myself from commenting about that part of it. And our city attorney's not here, but how many of these streets do you think you're going to be able to do, just roughly? Have you picked which ones, or just out of the... Go ahead, sorry.
Currently, we're proposing the ones that are clouded, about 5 streets.
So the other red streets are marked as information, so we're not proposing anything that relates to the street area where you live. We're
No, I
dealing with the
understand,
clouded
but
area.
it's marked in red, but I still want to...
Yeah, so it doesn't create a conflict for you.
And the treatment is, what kind of treatment you're thinking of doing there? All
Right.
the different options, you're going to look into it?
We're going to look at
Okay.
coating-place recycling, or it could be the rubber cape seal.
Okay. And then, since you're our paving, you have to put ADA compliant ramps,
Correct,
and that's also going to be covered in the budget.
correct.
Okay. Okay, I think that's great. The list that you're looking at, I think I've asked if we can get that on the city's website so people can look up their own street and figure out how their street compares to other streets, and kind of find out if somebody's driving down a certain area, like, wow, that's a 63 and my street's way worse. So it'd be interesting to kind of letting the public know really how big our problem is and the amount of money we need to pave our streets. So if you can please put that list on there with the recommended treatment and costs, I think that would be great to let everybody know how much money we need to spend to get our streets in good shape. But thank you very much. This is a good project.
Okay. Anyone else for action by the council?
I'll introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Marty Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.